Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julia, if you didn't already know that. If you're new here, thanks for clicking on the video. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back. Super excited to continue this journey with you guys, and I hope that you'll continue watching and get a little daily inspiration from this video. Originally I was going to do a vlog, but I decided to do one more sit down video with you before I kind of jump into like my daily life stuff. Just to let you get a feel for my personality and share a little with you what's been on my heart lately. So with that said, today's video, what I'm talking about is a phrase that I've heard a lot recently, whether it be through another YouTube video or on TV, maybe a social media post, or even in a song, and that is the phrase, growing where you're planted. And I feel like that's something we all hear, but refuse to hear. We don't take it in, we hear it, and we just keep moving on. That's something that I've been thinking a lot about lately, and I really feel like God was kind of leading me to talk about that. And so what I want to say is that it doesn't matter where you're at in life right now, whether it's a season you're enjoying or a season you're not enjoying, or if you're single and you don't want to be single, or if you're struggling in school, or you're struggling financially, or with your job. That's where you're supposed to be, and you have a purpose at this point in time exactly for what God has planned for you. Like, God's plan for you is so much greater than your plan for you. Just because it's not what we want and it's not what we imagined or where we thought we'd be doesn't mean that it's not important. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be living your life there in that position for God. What I talk about is like, what can you be doing during this season, even if it's not something you want to be in. And for me, 4 things I want to acknowledge about like staying in this season is, take this time to strengthen your relationship with God. Maybe you're not where you want to be, but maybe it's where God designed for you to have a little less busyness in your season of life, so that you could focus more on Him, so that you could draw near to Him, so that you could read His Word and you could live life with God, for God, and just be completely in that. And then the second thing is to ask Him to work in you. If this isn't where you want to be, but you're there, then God has a plan for you. He put you there for a reason. Ask Him to work in you. Maybe you're supposed to be the person who speaks life into a coworker. Maybe you're supposed to be the person who, a fellow student, you talk about God and they realize, you don't know exactly what your actions do daily, but they are important. Every single thing you do affects somebody. And I feel like, asking God to work in you, to speak through you when you approach like where you work or where you go to school, or an occasion that you don't particularly find exciting, asking Him to work in you will help you through that, and it'll give you peace of mind to know that you're doing what He wants you to do. Like 3 and 4 put together, and that's, look at all the blessings you have in your life now. Maybe you're not where you want to be, but think about all the little things that you're blessed with that other people may not have. And then the 4th one, which is tying into this, is think about how far you've come. Maybe you're not where you want to be, but you've come so far in the last month, or the last 6 months, or the last year. It's like everybody puts life on this giant timeline, and we try to plan out where we're going to be and who we're going to be with and what we're going to see and what we're going to do, but it doesn't matter. Like, we can plan all day, and you should plan, but God's plan is so much greater than your plan, and you're not going to be where you want just because you think you are. Your future's not going to work out that way. Now, work hard toward what you want, pray for what you want, tell God, let Him know, talk to God. But that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you've talked to Him and you've told Him that's not how it works. God does have a plan for you. He's designed where you're going to be, but where you're at right now is just as important as where you see yourself in the future. So maybe we should stop focusing so much on where we want to be and start focusing on where we're at and what we can do and where we're at to help others around us and to help live for God and strengthen our relationship with Him and just connect with people. Connection is so important, and talking to people, and there's somebody in this position, this season of your life that you've met that had you been where you wanted, you would never have met them. You wouldn't have had that chance to talk to them and open their eyes and their heart and everything. And so I think that's extremely important, is to, not only are you in this season of life for a reason, but you're around the people you're around for a reason. Is where you're at right now, you may not be seeing it, but God is working in your life. Right now, what He's doing is He's preparing you for that next season of life. He's growing you physically and mentally, and He's strengthening that relationship between the two of you, so that way when you get to where you want to be, you're equipped and you have the knowledge and the wisdom and the aspects that you need and characteristics in yourself to be where you want to be, to where you can go into what you want stronger and go further and succeed in what you want. He's working on you daily. He's building your character, and it's so important to just think about that. You maybe feel like you're a sitting duck, but you're not. Like, God is working on you every second of every day, and he's planning this big amazing future for you with this giant purpose that you're gonna fulfill. And it's like he knit you in your mother's womb. He prepared you to be alive at this exact point in time, to be exactly who you are, and to know all of the things you know, and to just accomplish something that only you were designed to accomplish. Nobody else can fulfill your single purpose. You were one person designed for one purpose, and you are the only one who can succeed in it. And if you think about it that way, it kind of makes you a superhero. Like, just think about how many superhero movies you've seen where they're like, I'm the only one who can take this task on. And they get so, like, I don't even know, ownership over themselves. They get super, like, confident, and they're like, I'm the only person who can do this. And they move forward, and they go at it, and they succeed. And that's kind of, you know, one way to look at it. It's like your purpose may seem giant and daunting, or maybe you don't know what it is yet. But there's one thing you can be sure of, and that purpose is to love God and to tell people of God. So while you're preparing for this other purpose you don't even know yet, you can be strengthening that relationship and thinking about the fact that this one purpose was created for you as one whole, and that you're going to fulfill it. You're the only one who can. So call yourself a superhero. I mean, you're the sons and daughters of a king. We're all royal here. And if you want to call yourself a superhero, I say do it. Because if that's going to help you get further into filling that purpose for God, then girl, guy, do it. You're a superhero, okay? One more point I want to make is that maybe the thing you're asking God for is something he's already given you. You know, maybe, like, we all expect to see things in the way we ask for them, or the way we picture them, or we all see something a certain way, and we're just like so darn sure that's going to happen that exact way. It's going to play out this way. This is how it's going to happen. I'm going to have this and this and this, and it's all going to look like this. Okay. So let's be real here. God does not work that way. But if you're meant to have it, you believe you want to have it, then maybe, and you're not seeing it, maybe you're looking too closely at what you want and not what God wants. Maybe he's given you that in a whole other way. You know, maybe what you have prayed for and you've wished for is here, but you're refusing to see it because it's not exactly how you pictured it. So that's something to keep in mind. Make sure you're keeping an open mind. Make sure you're looking at what you have and appreciating all the things God gives you, and that, you know, you're not taking things for granted, because you may overlook that. You know, think about everything you have, and think about how many prayers he's already answered. Think about where you're at and what you have, and make sure you're seeing those blessings and that fruit coming to life. Okay? One is kind of what I already touched on, is another point that I wanted to make. Something I already touched on, which is taking advantage of opportunities you currently have. Whether it's speaking life into people, talking about God, approaching that subject, or maybe you're at a job you don't particularly like, but you have the opportunity to gain a new skill set that could be used later in life, you know. Or you're at a job that you don't particularly like, but you've been there a while. Well, that's good, because future jobs like to see that you've stayed somewhere for a long time, you know. So you keep going, and you keep going and happy, and you put a smile on your face, and you make the best out of the situation. And with everybody you encounter, you speak highly, you talk about God, you know, you're a happy person in general. You're affecting those people. You know, maybe that situation or that, like, work environment would be kind of negative without you. Think about what you bring to the table with where you're at. You know, think about all the things you're doing that if you weren't there wouldn't be done, as far as, like, mentally and physically, you know, like, doing what you're supposed to do, but also, like, personally and in relationships. You're creating relationships with people. Like, maybe you're the best friend of somebody at this place. You know, then you wouldn't have your best friend, they wouldn't have their best friend had y'all not met. Like, there's a whole cycle. We're all connected. God did that on purpose. So I truly think that, you know. So definitely think about the opportunities you're currently having and where you're at, and how many people you can affect, and the relationships you're building, and the fact that, like, what you do right now can affect your future. You know, just because it's not where you want to be doesn't mean it's not important. So definitely think about that. The second is, do not compare yourself to other people. You know, social media is the worst about it. We see other people's posts, we see other people's pictures. Maybe they're dating, maybe they're engaged, maybe they're married, maybe they have a kid, maybe they just got a new job, maybe they're making a ton of money, and we sit there and we look at what we have and we look at what they have and we compare ourselves. Like, that's terrible. You know, social media is a thief of our happiness, because as soon as we fall down that little rabbit hole, then we start, you know, thinking about what we have and getting depressed, and then we start talking to God like, whoa, why do they have that and I don't, you know? Just stop. Okay, so, like, if that's what you're doing, you need to exit the account, turn off your phone, and just sit for a minute. Talk to God. Let him know how you're feeling about where you're at, but thank him for where you're at. But don't do not compare yourselves to other people. We all have our own purpose. We have our own path that we're like set on. Okay, so just because they're where they're at and you're where you're at doesn't mean it's bad. Being single isn't bad. You know, being engaged instead of married isn't bad. Each one of these seasons is a season for you to gain knowledge, for you to gain character, for you to learn. And I just feel like, you know, so many times we want to skip over, you know, the learning part and get to where we already know everything and where we have everything. And you know, it doesn't work that way. Like, there's a reason why there's separate seasons in our life laid out. You know, there's a reason why you start out as a kid and then you go to pre-K, then you go to kindergarten. You know, they map out all these schools, and then you go to junior high after elementary, and then high school, and then college, and then boom, you're a real world human. You know, it's weird, but like, they're grouped together so that you can gain certain knowledge at certain times. And I feel like that's what God does with life. He puts us all in certain seasons, and He puts us all in different seasons, and you are supposed to go across your path, and then eventually you'll get there. You know, it's like, just because you're in high school and your older siblings in college, you know, you can't just look at them and think you like that and immediately jump to that, you know? So I feel like that's important to think about. It's kind of a perspective to put it in. It's like, just because you see other people there doesn't mean you're supposed to be there. Now, we all reach different achievements, different accomplishments, different life moments, monumental occasions at different times. And I feel like that's so important to remember, and to not compare yourself to other people. What you have is great, what they have is great. As long as you're living your life for God, you will get what you want. You know, you will get there. God has this amazing plan in store for you. Don't rush the process. Take your time in the process. Take your steps. Grow where you're planted. You know, take the time to let the sun grow you so that you can flourish and provide fruit and be fruitful in the relationships you're making and the opportunities you're taking advantage of. You know, just make sure that you're remembering that where you're at is important in the span of your life. Like, one day you're going to look back and you're going to think about the memories you made during this time, and the people you met, and the adventures you had, and all these incredible things that wouldn't have happened had you rushed that process. You know, you want to be able to look back. You know, everybody says, oh, the good old days. Well, today could be the good old day. Maybe today is a great day, and then you go into tomorrow, and then in 10 years you're looking back and you're like, wow, that was one of them good old days. Like, it sounds like funny saying it out loud, but every day can be a good old day if you make it that way. It doesn't have to be one that happened forever ago. It doesn't have to be something that comes in the future that you are suddenly going to do, and then after that time you're going to look back on it. You know, you can do that with every day of life. You know, God gives you a new day every morning, and I feel like that's like just another page in the book. You know, it's a blank page. You can choose how you're going to live it. You can choose how you're going to go forward, if you're going to be happy, if you're going to be positive, if you're going to love God, if you're going to live for Him. And I think that's something that's so important to remember. Okay, so just a question to leave you with this daily dose of encouragement is what I'm calling it, is how can you use your current state to honor and glorify God? Okay, so make sure with wherever you're at that you're using it to honor God, and you're thanking Him, and you're showing people what it looks like to live a life for God and to be happy with where you're at, whether you're where you want to be or not. You know, so I just wanted to tell you, you know, guys, thank you so much for watching. You know, I hope that this gave you some encouragement. I hope that this let you to, you know, realize, hey, you know, maybe I'm not where I want to be, but I'm actually happy with where I'm at for now. You know, again, I'm not a preacher. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to share, you know, what I've noticed and what I've learned from my particular events and occasions that have happened in my life and my seasons. And I'm hopeful, and I'm praying for you guys, and I'm thinking that, you know, you all have a lot ahead. I know you have a lot ahead, and that your life is going to turn out how you want, and you're going to end up one day so happy, and you're going to look back on these days and think about how they shaped you into who you become. So it's so important. So with that, I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, let them know I'm here. I'm so grateful, so grateful that you guys are here and supporting me and joining me on this journey. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I hope you know that you are loved, you have a purpose, and God is with you every step of the way. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Peace out.